I think, if I was to describe in very simple terms what crowd manager might be, it really is anything to do with people and feet. So, and I think, if you're talking about traffic, it's in terms of wheels. And so, the wheels and feet bit for me always kind of makes it a simpler understanding of what we do. But, I think when we're looking at putting together a crowd or audience management plan, we're looking at any area that can be impacted by the crowds that are coming to an event. And I think defining that is really important as the first thing that you do in your plan.
I don't think you can use numbers. I think you've got to look at the complexity of the site and have an argument, and it will be an argument, with a promoter or an event organizer that says, this is too big for one person. You need someone looking at the stage, you need to look at someone looking at the barrier build, but you also need someone like me or like us that's looking specifically at the crowds and understanding the crowd's needs and implementing things that are going to be keeping the crowd safe during the day. And I don't think you can apply that just based on numbers. It's on complexity and the audience demographic and the type of music and all those things that we know about that impact on our crowds. And I've always tried to explain this in the simplest way. Walking on short grass is quicker than walking in long grass. You know that if you've ever taken a walk in a wet meadow, it takes longer to get from A to B. But I can't put that onto a spreadsheet and say, reduce the flow rate by 15%. But if you walk onto a field that you've site visited a month before and the grass was short and it was dry, and you've worked out what you think your flow rates are going to be in your head or written them down, and then you walk on the morning and they haven't cut the grass and it's been growing for a month and it's a bit wet, a bit dewy, you know that your flow rate is going to be 10 or 15% lower than the one that you planned. And then as the grass gets flat, it will start to speed up again and the day will warm up and it will dry, but the soil underneath might still be muddy. So you might start getting some squishy areas. So it's going to slow back down again. I've never yet met a computer who mathematically can work out what those flow rates are going to be. And I can't give you 82 becomes 75, becomes 71, becomes 65, then goes back up to 70. But I can tell you there's going to be a 10 to 15% reduction in the flow rate-ish, which will speed up a little bit for a little while until it becomes muddy and then it's going to slow back down again. And that's where I think the human element, the art, our bits of brain and understanding what we would do in certain circumstances, what our families would do in certain circumstances, and then applying that to the crowd that we know are coming and the type of people that are likely to be coming for that particular show, and thinking, what will they do if this happens? I always use the story. There's a local garden centre near me where, and I won't go into too much detail, but in the gentlemen's facilities, there is a trough. And the trough is screwed to the wall. But if you look very closely, just above the trough, there are 4 small taps, which are clearly used to rinse things away. Above this, subsequently, they've retrofitted a sign that says, roses are red, records are vinyl. This is a sink, not a urinal. Which I thought was hilarious when I first saw it, and then got me really angry because I thought they've now had to use the information and management section of the dim ice model to retrofix the design failure when they put that damn thing on the wall and made it look more like a urinal than a sink. And it was funny for about the first 30 seconds. And then because of what we do, I sat down having my lunch, having washed my hands in the sink and sat there for 30 seconds and started thinking, that's stupid. They've actually had to put a sign up to tell people what to do in that thing. And that's the point, I guess. If you don't get the design right, you're always working your nuts off to try to fix everything afterwards.
I don't believe that AI could write audience management or crowd management plan in the same way that I do. I know that there are a number of skills that I have that AI is missing and will continue to miss for a really, really long time. So I think we have to say that the technology is with us and we've got to embrace the fact that technology isn't going away. So I think the fact, dismissing it is not an option. And I think being aware that some people may try to write their plans using it, I think it can be really helpful for wording, but it needs a human input.
Well, how do you assess it? I heard a phrase years ago that I absolutely despised at the time, and then the more I thought about it, the more I thought actually it kind of fits. And it was someone standing giving a presentation said, "Judge me on my Kate, my knowledge, ability, training, and experience. The combination of those things." And I think it does actually fit quite well. But the question is, who judges that? And the first person has got to be yourself. People have got to be brave enough, strong enough, and willing to say, do you know that one's outside my reach? I know I want to gain experience and I'd love to do a job like that, but that's too big for me, or too big for me alone. But we know plenty of people that simply will not make that call. They will fake it till they make it. They'll undercut other people who probably are competent and qualified to deal with it, and they will wing it and hope they get it right, and bit by bit build their experience and hope they don't kill anybody. It's got to be down to the event organizer and the promoter, really, who should be doing the due diligence on this. I know some local authorities are very good. Some local authority SAGs are very good at doing due diligence on the people that are being engaged by event organisers, but it should be the event organiser and the promoter, because I'd rather they were judging my competence than a coroner.